our failures are louder than our successes.
Yeah, most certainly.
I mean, the actual quote is our failures are known, our successes are not.
Mm-hmm.
But we always have to be cognizant of that because as men, typically we don't get a lot of credit,
Mm-hmm.
In general. You know what I mean? Because we'll likely get credit if we do something that's on like an extraordinary level,
Right?
I'll use Michael Jordan for an example. Michael Jordan is known for his basketball exploits, but you're not hearing it's not like, oh man, Michael Jordan's the greatest father ever. You know what I mean?
Very true.
So it's not like the world is going to give us much credit in terms of what we do, for our families, for our communities, and everything. But the moment we mess up, that's all over the place. You'd hear about him or any superstar being a child abuser before you'd hear them being a great dad.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have to be cognizant of that. The pressure's on. We have to be, on top of our game, because if we're not, believe me, the whole world will.
Oh, but that's one thing that I'd love that we stick to as a society. Not really coddling to men that do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
But I get you.
But I get that thing too, because I've actually spoken to my mom once, like, yo, why don't you hype me up when I do something like good, like
right?
And I don't know, it's just something that like I feel like us men should stick to. We shouldn't really expect anyone to hype us up for the good things that we do, or hype us up talk to us bad for the things that we do. It's just like, yo, it should be an internal thing.
Right, and
it should be instinctual.
And that's what I was gonna say. Because I think that men, I think we're driven more by our pride, and men will always take pride in good work.
Yeah.
So we'll know internally that we've done well.
Yeah.
Because of that sense of pride that we feel after it's done, or the sense of pride that we feel when we know that everything is in line,
as opposed to like socially being validated. Like, yo, hey, you did a great job. Nah, I know, man.
Right. Right. So I was like, I know I did that.
I know.
But again, all that to say that even though we do know, and we have that validation for ourselves, you can always expect that if something goes wrong, there'll be a finger pointed at you.
Yeah. And that should be part of being a man. Like,
right.
Yo, knowing, all right, look, I messed up. Like, because once you start to take the engine out of the man, like you're supposed to be validating yourself. You're supposed to be innately following your dreams or being responsible to your responsibilities. You know what I mean? Like, when you mess up, you should not look to wait for people to chastise you. When you do good things, you shouldn't wait for people to praise you. You should just live and exist as a man.
But the reason you don't gotta wait for it though is because the chastisement is coming.
It's coming. That's a fact.
It'll meet you.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But where I thought you were gonna go with it is that I really forgot where I was going with that. Go ahead.
But what I was going to say is that, in terms of that validation, like looking for that praise or somebody say like, yo, man, you could have did this a little better. I feel like that comes with knowing who God created you to be, and really finding out what your purpose is in life. And then it's like, okay, I don't care. You could thank you for giving me my credit. I don't need that though.
Yeah.
But or it could be like, yo, somebody just told you that you messed up. Okay, I know that already. I already know. I know I messed up. I'm back on track. I'm getting to it again. I think also being a man is about knowing that. Yeah, you can be knocked down for a quick second, but it's always about getting back up. Like I think we spoke about this before, is knowing that what it looks like is not the end. The end is you getting back on your feet and doing what you're supposed to do, and really, coming through again being responsible with whatever your responsibilities may be, knowing that, okay, yeah, I messed up. I kind of fell off a little bit, but I still got these things to do, say the bills still got to be paid, so you still got to kind of get right and get to it.
And I remember the point I was getting on, but what both of you are coming into, is another term that I really feel that goes with accepting responsibilities, and that's accountability.
Right.
I feel that men have to hold themselves accountable.
Exactly.
For what they do. And it's if you're not living up to or if you fall short of the mark, nothing wrong with saying, you know what, own up. I fell short of it. Yeah. Own up to it.
Right.
And that's how you're able to make you change.
I absolutely agree, but I feel like that the driver for that internally for a man should not come from their social praise or the social.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
As a man, and I don't know, I feel like in this 2019 era or this modern age that we're living in, this PC culture, kind of it kind of gives way to recognition of efforts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which I agree with. You know what I mean? But once you start deriving the passion or the need to make any move in your life from external reactions to what and then that's when you lost. You lost. Mm-hmm. You lost that lesson, the being a man 101. You lost.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything for you as a man should come internal. And I don't even like to frame it as for men. It's just like as a human being, you're whatever you do, validation for it or being able to chastise it should all be internal.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I always feel that even as men, there's nothing wrong with. And I'm not saying have someone to lean on.
I agree. That's why I'm really conflicted.
Yeah.
We do deserve praise sometimes.
What I was getting at though, and this goes along with the accountability, is to there isn't anything wrong with having another man to validate, and this is where I'm getting at.
Oh yeah.
As brothers, we gotta hold each other accountable too.
Yeah, facts.
You need the
community.
Yeah,
right.
You need your community of brethren,
because you can't do it in a vacuum. It has to
exactly.
There has to be a basis for it. Yeah.
And the best point to look to is the best person to look to usually is always someone who's been there. My pastor says you never want to go to someone who has your problem. You always want to pattern yourself after someone who's been there and has done it.
Yeah.
Has done it, seen it. Because they'll know the pitfalls that you're about to come up on.
Yeah.
So this way, each one teach one. You can help them try to avoid those pitfalls as best they can.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes as men we get caught up in, all right, well, I'm a man, so that means I got to do all of this by myself, and that's not the case. That's wrong.
Right.
That's setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly. I feel like a man is able to admit that he needs help in whatever the case may be.
Right.
Yeah. Like you said, it's not. I don't think we were created to just go through life alone. Like I remember Auntie Nene said, you like a lone wolf, man. Like you don't really have nobody kind of as a running mate with you. And at first I kind of took that like, yeah, I mean, I'm only child. I like being by myself. But then as I got older, it's like, yeah, you do need someone to kind of give you some encouragement, some advice, like you said, somebody that's been there, done that already.
Right.
And again, that prevents you from going through those same pitfalls, from making those same boneheaded mistakes that are easily preventable. But again, I think that goes also back to being prideful. As men, that's just kind of who we are. We have that sense of pride. We want to say like, yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? But it's good to have people like you guys to keep someone like myself, to keep us accountable. Like,
You trying to call me old?
nah, but like, yeah, you know, it's. I think a man is supposed to seek help. You got, men in the Bible, some of the greatest men, King David, inquiring to God about, the things that he was going through, him being on the run from King Saul, and yeah, this is God he's asking, but still he's asking for help. That's the main thing, It's not. It doesn't make you less of a man to ask for help. In fact, I think that makes you more of a man because you're admitting, like, okay, I want to get somewhere and I need help getting there. So what do you have to offer me? What can you help me with?
And I think it's interesting that you brought up Saul, him being on the run, because initially, Saul had Samuel as his
guy, yeah.
Right, and sort of that man to kind of help keep him in check.
Right.
Now, granted, he steered away from it once he felt that
pressure.
Well, no. Once he felt that he had already came along, and then he started to kind of turn away.
Yeah.
But those formative years of him being king, and those formative years leading up to him being king, he had Samuel to, and you find out that even after Samuel died, he goes to, when he feels himself lost again, he goes to a witch to, a soothsayer to conjure up Samuel up, so that's how he can ask of his advice again.
Right.
So all that to say, and really just to reiterate my point, we're setting ourselves up for downfall if we don't learn that, if we don't learn to one, reach out,
right,
and to two, learn.
Right.
Learn from other men that have been there. I've been fortunate that I've had your dad. We had granddad. We had Uncle Gene. We have men to learn from.
Yeah.
I have my brother.
Right.
For this thing called life, and this is why it's so important that men be there for their children, no matter what that issue is that may prevent you, that you may use as an excuse to not be there for your children.
Right.
This is why, because again, they're gonna, it's children, especially boys, especially black boys.
Yes.
We'll go. We can. It's so easy to go the wrong way if we don't have our dads in our life to one, validate us as men, and to two, to provide a guideline to help, and to help keep us accountable. The older we get. Right. So I would say again, man, if there's any reason that you need to stay in your children's life, any reason that you may even want to be like a big brother to someone, it's for that reason alone. There's too many of us dying and or going to jail because because we don't have that figure in our life to hold us. But let
me ask you this: what's your advice to kids that don't have the model or the template to go about that? Let me give you my personal. I mean, I've had the opportunity. I had the opportunity to have a society of men or a group of individuals that I could actually learn from, but let's say for me, I left Ghana when I was 15.
Okay.
Came over here, lived with my aunt who has 3 little girls and a husband that's works like crazy. So he's never at home for me to properly sit down with him, chop it up, actually learn from this dude. Where would I get that from? What's the advice for kids that they have no male or even if they have a male role model around them, it's not these are not behaviors that you would like to emulate.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Well, do you know the reason that they?
I mean, because in 2019, there are a lot of mentors online. There are people you can watch, people you can read, all that stuff. But I'm trying to think about it, back in the day when when I got here, 2009, 2010, who helped me? get through it. You know what I mean? Like how I got through it because I got played sports. Always had a coach. I always hung out with you. You know what I mean? I always had so I had men in my life that like had a head on their body that could actually
that you can learn from.
I could actually learn from. But if I didn't play sports, I feel like